Are you always getting second place and watching other people win games, thinking to yourself, what am I doing wrong? Well, today, I'm going to be teaching all of you how to win more games in Fortnite. I'd also like to say this is mainly for ranked, but I don't see why you can't use it in some public matches. Also boys, we just hit 500 subs, so if you aren't already subbed, make sure to double check that you're subscribed. And with that, let's get into the video. So to start this video, let's talk about the most important part about the start of your game, the drop spot. Now your drop spot is very dependent on the type of player you are. Maybe you're a pro player that gets 20 kills a game, but I'm going to assume that most of you guys who are watching this video are an average or above average player. Now even before you jump out of the bus, the first thing you should be doing is looking around the map while on the bus to see where the Wi-Fi towers spawn. You should be picking your drop spot based around one of the towers around the map. Most people know this, but if you don't, when looking on the bus you can see where the towers spawn. Here's a quick map of where all the towers spawn and their spawn rate, because they do not spawn every game, so be aware of that. Now when talking about your drop spot, it's very important you know everything about your drop spot. Things like, do you know where all the chests and ammo boxes are? Do you know where the best loot route is? Is your loot path time efficient? And also, you need to practice these routes, because the only way to get good at anything is with practice and consistency. But if you want to learn your location really quickly, go check out FORTNITE.gg, because they allow you to create loot paths and see everything about your location. Small details like this in the early game make the difference, because in early game, you're probably dying and complaining, saying that, hey, I didn't get a shotgun, or hey, maybe he had more shields than me. Instead of complaining, learn your lesson, learn your drop spot. You should have better knowledge of what's around you to get the maximum loot possible. So then when you get in a fight, it's more about how good you are and how much loot you have. Unless of course they have a lightning bolt, which if they do, just pray or leave the game. So now moving on to the mid game. So you get some kills where you lived off spawn and you have decent loot. The next thing you're going to do is head for the Wi-Fi tower that you saw at the beginning of the game. But be aware that other players will probably try and shoot you when killing the boss and his henchmen. So you should box them up if you have time and use the new DMR or a sniper to eliminate them in the fastest way possible. It also works really good for the bosses, so yeah, that's just a heads up. And once you have killed the AI, get the card and insert it into the machine. Once you have done this, this will allow you to see the next zone before anyone else can. And since you have spent all this time getting the Wi-Fi, the zone should have closed 2 or 3 times, and when that happens, the bunkers are going to spawn. Playing for the bunkers is very important, as the loot you get is insane. You get 3 guaranteed god chests, and it's the only other spot other than the island that allows you to upgrade your guns. When upgrading your guns, your scope will depend on what gun you're using, obviously. But using things like the angled force grip, the laser sight, and the muzzle increase your accuracy and reduce your recoil significantly. This will allow you to hit more shots and take less damage. Also, if you do want to play for the island, you can, but in my opinion, it's not a necessity. But if you're playing ranked, it will give you a lot of points. Moving on to the end game. This is what you've all been waiting for. This is where I'm going to go the most in depth. So before even going to the end game, make sure that you have at least max brick and 250 metal. Moving on to the first point, rotations. Rotations allow you to get to the best spot to set you up for success. Instead of just winging your rotation and white lining your way to zone, look to go dead side. If you don't know what dead side is, it's basically the part of zone where the least amount of players are. So rotate along that side. Then you're going to need to box yourself up in a metal or brick box. And don't use wood, because you're just asking to get pushed at that point. You should always either box up in a 2x1 or a 1x2, with cones on each, so you can see outside your box without letting anyone shoot you. The next step to winning is playing for high ground. So you need to look at where the next zone is, because if you got the Wi-Fi tower, you will be able to see the next zone before any other players. So you can go over to that corner of the map, and then position yourself up. Usually before you even go on a height, try and pick the highest point on the ground and then build up from that point to save yourself mats and make it easier on yourself. Then once you're on the high ground, you need to do a few things. First, use your brick and metal to build up around 3 layers so that you can mini skybase over the zone. And do not just place a floor or a cone below you. Make sure you place both. This will make it very hard for someone to chop you out, as they have to focus on rotating and fighting. Also, you need to keep pressure on your opponents. So you should use a burst SMG with a laser sight or any other spray gun. And when spraying down, make sure not to scope in or stand still at all. All you have to do is just walk and ADS spray everyone down below you. You don't even need to get kills here. You just need to waste the mats out of everyone so that they're all forced to fight. Then when there are 2 other players left, all you have to do is clean up the last fight, because the last player should be weak after his fight. Then just finish him off. And that's it. But although these tips can help you win a solo game, there's only so much I can teach you guys. At the end of the day, it's experience and practice that will get you to win more games. So that's going to wrap up this video. If any of these tips helped you, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps out a lot. And with that, I'll see you all later. Peace.